questions? Go ahead.
I'm not familiar with current statistics about the Head Start program in the United States, but as far as I remember, it's much less impressive, the new results. Can you tell us a little bit about why in Turkey it's so successful?
Yes, I can.
Long-term program.
Actually, it's not only all shout. It's not only in the US, but as I was telling you when we had lunch, also in the Netherlands it didn't work. We didn't take hippie as it was. First of all, we adapted it. And secondly, we developed our own reading materials, children's story books. But even more important than these, we developed a whole second program for mother support, which Hippie doesn't have. Hippie is focused, yes, it's again a mother training the child, but the mother is trained only in terms of the cognitive materials she teaches to the child. Whereas ours was a women's empowerment program that dealt with also spousal relations in the home, parenting, women's needs because they are women. So all of this part, which was in terms of group discussions, was very, very attractive for the women, and that's why, as I was saying, there was almost no attrition. And I'll tell you a little bit of the story because it's at the end of the 2 years, it was a 2-year program. Now it's a 1-year program actually, but just as intensive and also very, very effective. Later evaluation studies are also showing. At the end of the program, these women who were in the very beginning just quiet, and when we asked them something, they said, we don't know, we haven't been to school, this kind of thing. At the end, they started questioning us. They said, okay, what next? Because we told them to finish it. What next? Yeah, we don't know, there's no next. We are just university professors, and this is a project, it's finishing. No, not good enough. No, what should we do? You have to go to television. That's what they said. And at that time in Turkey, it was one track, one channel, television. And we had never even thought of television. And then we said, well, how can we? Then I thought of asking them, if you appear on television, if you agree to take part in this, we will do it. And they did. They followed these women 5 years of education or less. 4 of them, we did a small group with a facilitator on the Turkish public television at that time, and they aired. And I would get telephone calls from people who knew that I was involved in this. Who are those actresses? They are so natural.
Professor Keller, attachment theory talks about a primary caregiver, Western theory, and you mentioned that in different cultures, children grow up with lots of caregivers. How does that? How do you work that out?
Yeah, thank you for this question. That in fact is a very interesting issue, and there's a lot of anthropological evidence and also from cultural psychological studies that have in-depth observations and analysis of practices in very different environments, very different people, all come to the conclusion that traditional attachment theory does not cover the kinds of relationships that are significant in these other environments. And Hille and I have just sent a book to Cambridge University where we have selected accounts of, I don't know, 15 or how many people who have made observations and analysis with respect to attachment theory, and they all they come from very different backgrounds, from evolutionary theory, from anthropology, from linguistics, from very different backgrounds, and they all agree that there is a communal kind of relational development that is completely different from this exclusive one-to-one or one-to-two relations. And interestingly, John Bowlby has already, in his original writings, these possibilities are included, but they never have been taken seriously. And I don't know of any other theory that has been so resistant to change than attachment theory. Attachment theory has ignored all this evidence completely, and they even don't discuss it today. They think they are culturally sensitive, but they're really not. And I think within the next couple of years, more will happen. There's another book coming out very soon from a group of American anthropologists who also have a lot of evidence to report. And this is important for the application, because the major application conceptions are based on attachment theory. And if you talk to people in the fields and people who work in practice with people, also in daycare, they all tell you convincingly that it doesn't work. But there is such a strong lobby that it's really hard to change, but we will do our best to contribute to that.
Thank you.
What were the fathers doing with all these?
Not surprising.
Good question. Every time, without exception, I talk about this. Somebody asks about fathers.
Good.
Very good. After a while, the women started telling us, we don't have problems with our children, we have problems with our husbands.
Bad question.
You should get those husbands here, type of thing, and talk to them. It was actually on the basis of their demands that we started the father program, the father support program, and that really is, we have some evaluation research on that, and that really is making a difference. But with regard to what actually we did with the fathers, we did something, and that was, first of all, some of these women were factory workers, unskilled factory workers in Istanbul. And first of all, I did personally, I had to persuade the factory managements to give them time from their work. And we did, the factories collaborated. And we had to get permission from the husbands. Because the woman is doing something, what is she doing? Kind of thing, what is going on? So the husbands had to be informed, and I found myself, I was quite young at that time, I found myself this big factory, I don't know, 200 men, young men, they all came there, they were called by the management, they didn't know what was going to happen, and here there was this young woman, and they couldn't make it out. And then I told them, this is for your children. I didn't say this is for your wives. I said, this is for your children. When your children go to school, you will see the result of this. And that was the touch point. Because children will go to school, they don't know how the children will do, and so on. And we also, throughout the period, we sent thank you messages to the men. Even though they didn't do anything. we sent them messages of appreciation.
What do they mean? What do men mean?
I will tell you one other little story, and then I will talk. There was one of the women, I got to know these women myself at that time, quite a number of them. There was this woman, heavy set young woman, very healthy, strong, she was a janitor in one of the places, and she had 4 children, and she was participating in the program. And after a while, the children would come to us and they would ask, how come our mother is not beating us anymore?
Ah.
And this woman, when she was angry, she would just go one by one through the children, and then her husband was a kind of a rather small man, and she would go at him also. So at the end of the training of the program, we got a thank you note from her husband. And he said, you brought peace to my home.
Let's continue our piece at our break.
Fantastic.